Kagome let out a relaxed breath while Sango washed her hair, all while the Miko herself sat in the warm hot spring. "My lady, I must get your wedding kimono, but don't worry, I'll leave Kilala here to watch over you," said Sango as she got up from her knees and dusted off her pink and green kimono. Kagome frowned a bit. I don't mean to be rude, but, the Miko trailed off, looking at the large Neko sitting next to Sango with worry in her eyes. The captain noticed this and gave Kagome a gentle smile. "Oh, don't worry, Kilala's harmless. However, if it makes you more comfortable, she can change into her smaller form," she proclaimed as she turned to Kilala. "Kilala, do you mind?" asked Sango politely. Kilala gave her partner a nod and shifted into a normal-sized cat after standing up, which made her big claws and fangs disappear. Kagome couldn't help but let out a small gasp. Kilala was absolutely adorable in this form. "Well, my lady, I will be back in a moment," Sango stated as she bowed to Kagome and left the hot spring room, closing the sliding doors in her wake. "Now's my chance," the young Miko thought to herself. She quickly got out of the hot spring, dried herself off, and put on her red and white Miko kimono back on. But just before she could reach the sliding door, Kagome felt Kilala purring and pawing at her leg. Hello," the Miko stated awkwardly, hardly having any idea how to react to a demon that wasn't trying to kill her, though her thoughts were interrupted when Kilala let out an adorable meow and leaped onto the Miko's shoulders, surprising the young girl. Kagome trailed off, but stopped when Kilala nuzzled her face with her own, and the young Miko's eyes softened. "Oh, you're so sweet and soft," Kagome said as she gently stroked one of Kilala's ears with her 2 fingers, making the little Neko lean into her touch and lick her cheek, making the Miko giggle. "Oh, you're not scary at all." "I really needed that, thank you." Kagome trailed off as her smile turned into a frown. "I don't understand. I'm a Miko. Inuyasha is a half-demon. Of all women, why did he choose me?" "I don't understand it, Kilala. I don't," the Miko said, taking Kilala off of her shoulders and into her arms and scratching behind the Neko's ears. "My lady, I have your—" Sango started as she came into the hot springs room, only to see Kilala cuddling with Kagome, who was back in her Miko outfit and very close to the door. Kagome stared at the captain, expecting her to be angry at her for trying to escape. But to her surprise, Sango smiled at her softly and concerningly. "My lady, I don't blame you at all. If I was in your position, I'd try to escape too," she trailed off. Kagome frowned at her. "Then why try and stop me?" she snapped. Sango looked up at her. "I'm only doing what Lord Inuyasha asked of me," she proclaimed. This made Kagome even more angry. "But you're a human, so why do you follow the orders of a half-demon who kidnapped an innocent maiden?" the Miko yelled. Sango sighed. "You're right. It is indeed strange that I, a demon slayer as myself, serves a half-demon and is general of his army. But I owe him my life, as well as his late father. Not to mention, Lord Inuyasha is a kind and loyal friend," she said. Kagome gave a slight gasp. "Wait, what do you mean you owe him your life?" she asked. Sango smiled. "Well, as I said before, I was once a demon slayer, as was my little brother, Kohaku, and our late father. This was a little over 6 years ago. Kohaku and I had been trained all our lives with our father to be demon slayers. We were ready to take on the world, too. But everyone in our village died of famine, and the 3 of us in Kilala were the only ones left. We were hungry, tired from traveling, and looking for a new place to live. We thought we were done for. Even my father was starting to give up. That is until Lord Inuyasha and his late father, Lord Toga, found us. He and his wife, Lady Izayoi, took pity on us, gave us a home, food, water, and an everlasting friendship. So from then on, my father was general of his army, the great dog demon's army. That is, until he died on the battlefield about a year after we started living here. Everyone who lived and served here was heartbroken, especially Lord Toga and his family, not to mention me and Kohaku. But shortly after my father's death, I took his place as general, since I was his firstborn, with Kohaku as my second in command, and Kilala as my partner, and life soon got better for us," Sango said, finishing her story. Kagome stared at her. I can't even... I'm sorry, Sango. I guess because of what I've been told and taught about demons and half-demons, I'm so quick to judge humans who serve them, and are friends with them," she exclaimed. Sango gave Kagome a gentle nod and a smile. "It's all right, my lady, I understand," said the captain. "Please, you can call me Kagome. Everyone does," the Miko requested. Sango raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure?" she asked as Kilala purred at her side. Kagome smiled at her. "Positive. So, can you help me escape?" the Miko questioned, but to her dismay, Sango shook her head. "I'm sorry, Kagome, but I can't risk losing my place here. It's all me and my little brother have. Plus, Lord INUYASHA isn't a bad person. If you let him show you his love for you, I'm sure you could learn to love him back," she encouraged softly. She took out a white silk wedding kimono and a veil. Kagome sighed sadly. "There's no other way out of this, is there?" Sango shook her head, feeling sorry for her new friend. No, and as far as I'm concerned, you already tried talking to him, and that didn't work, did it?" she asked. "No," Kagome stated sadly. "Then I suggest you try and like Lord INUYASHA. I mean, he loves you more than I think he's ever loved anyone else," the captain prompted, but Kagome's shoulders only slumped. "If he really did love me, he would let me go," she thought to herself as Sango helped her put on the wedding kimono. Once it was on, Sango smiled at the young Miko before her. "Kagome, I can already tell you'll be the most beautiful bride there ever was," she proclaimed. Sango gave her new friend a smile. "Thank you, Sango," she said barely above whisper, as her smile became smaller and smaller. Sango then took the Miko's hand for reassurance. "Everything will turn out okay, I promise. Now sit down, I can brush your hair if you want," the captain requested, walking over and patted a nearby rock that looked like a stool. Kagome gave a nod and sat in front of Sango. Just before the captain could pull out the brush from the side of her kimono, the sliding door leading to the outside of the cave corridor opened, and in stepped a little demon that looked like a brown lynx. He walked on two legs and wore blue clothing. "Hi there!" he greeted to the two young women in front of him. Sango and Kagome turned to the little guy, and once Sango saw him, she immediately tried to push him out of the room. "Bunza, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be preparing for the wedding at sunset tonight?" asked the captain. Bunza smiled cheekily at her. "I know I wanted to meet Kagome. After all, she's going to be my new sister. So I thought I'd introduce myself," the little lynx child said as he hurried past Sango and hopped onto Kagome's lap after giving Kilala a pat on the head. "Hi, you new big sister," Bunza greeted with a smile. Hi," Kagome stated awkwardly. Bunza smiled at her again. "Gosh, it's so nice to meet you, Kagome. My name is Bunza. I'm INUYASHA's little brother, and ooh, you're even prettier than I thought you'd be. Okay, I'll get down to it," stated the little lynx child, clearing his throat. "Ahem. 1. Take good care of my brother, he'll need it. 2. You have to let me hang out with him whenever I want." And Bunza tried to continue, but Sango cut him off. Bunza, Kagome needs to get ready for her wedding. So, with that being said, how about you go help Lord INUYASHA get ready?" the captain suggested. Bunza turned to Sango and looked disappointed. "Aw, fine," the lynx child trailed off. But as he turned back and gave Kagome one last hug, the best way he could, since he was so much smaller than her, Kagome was shocked, but nonetheless hugged the little guy back. "Bye, Kagome. I can't wait to see you and my brother married," Bunza called out and rushed out the door. Once Bunza had gone, the Miko turned to Sango with a confused expression on her face. If it's okay to ask, are INUYASHA and Bunza there related?" asked Kagome. Sango smiled as she began to brush Kagome's hair. "Oh, they aren't related by blood whatsoever. But Bunza is like a little brother to Lord INUYASHA. Ever since Lady Izaioi found little Bunza as an orphan toddler, she and Lord Toga took him into their home so Lord INUYASHA could have a playmate growing up. Even though they're a few hundred years apart in age, they bonded like brothers. Bunza is Lord INUYASHA's best friend, so it's no surprise he wanted to meet you to see who his big brother was marrying," the captain stated. Kagome said nothing after that. All she could wonder about was what her future held after becoming the dog god's wife. INUYASHA couldn't stop smiling. He was putting on his red kimono robe over his chest and looking in the mirror smiling. "I can't believe this day has finally come. I'm going to marry Kagome," he said happily as he straightened his kimono. That's when Bunza came running into the room. "Brother!" the lynx child shouted, jumping onto INUYASHA's shoulder. "Hey, Bunza, where have you been?" the dog god playfully asked, giving Bunza a nuggie. Hey, the little lynx child laughed as INUYASHA let him out of his grasp. Okay, bro, how do I look? Asked the dog god, showing off his attire. Bunza looked at INUYASHA up and down and stood in front of him and put a finger to his chin and squinted. Great, you look great, but here, give this to Kagome, Bunza suggested as he handed out a yellow and white lily to INUYASHA, who smiled. Bunza, you're a genius, he stated the dog god as he took the lily and gave it a sniff. Oh, by the way, can I just say that you, my friend, have awesome taste. Kagome is really beautiful. You know, if she had a little sister, I'd ask her to be my mate, the lynx child prompted. INUYASHA turned to his brother. Wait, you've met Kagome? He questioned. When? Bunza waved his hand in front of the dog god dismissively. Oh, just now. Had to introduce myself to my new sister and, give her my blessing and my condolences. He replied with a chuckle. INUYASHA rolled his eyes. Well, in that case, I'm glad you like her, the half-demon trailed off with a happy sigh. I could never ask for anyone better to be my mate, he thought to himself as he smiled softly and lovingly at the lily blossom in his hands. He then turned to Bunza. Let's go. The wedding is about to take place, he said as he and Bunza walked out the door.